Stephen Curry. He's been amazing this year. You could even make the argument that this is his best season ever, and that says a lot. Although they didn't win the championship in 2016, Steph Curry still had one of the best individual seasons in league history. Here are his stats from 2016, and that's the year when he won the only unanimous MVP in the history of the league. And here are his stats from this year. He's leading the league in scoring with 32 points, grabbing 5.5 rebounds, and dishing 6 assists a game, and he's doing this on insane shooting averages. Of course, a huge difference is how successful the team is, and the 2016 Warriors had the best record of all time of 73-9. But you also need to take into account the pieces surrounding him. The Warriors in 2016 fit perfectly with Steph with 2 All-Stars, and the team had no weakness. Steph Curry isn't the best defender? That's okay, because you have one of the best wing defenders in the league to go with the Defensive Player of the Year in 2017. Klay Thompson isn't the greatest at playmaking? That's okay, because Steph is a great playmaker that has a ton of gravity, and Draymond is more than capable of facilitating the offense. Draymond can't shoot that well? That's okay, because you have the best shooting backcourt in NBA history. This year, a huge piece of that is gone. Klay Thompson hasn't played at all this year, and it's his second year out. Golden State went from being a 3-point shooting team to a team with no good shooters aside from Steph Curry. Okay, maybe you could add Andrew Wiggins, but no one else. There's no one even close to being an all-star this season besides Steph. There's no one that you can trust in crunch time besides Steph. There's no reliable scorer besides Steph. There's no great shooter besides Steph. It's pretty much up to him to win games on the offensive end. When you don't have any help, the opposing team's defenses are focused on you. And I was watching the Suns game a few days ago, and at one point there were 4 defenders on him. It's crazy what he's doing this year with all the attention he's getting from the defense. Simply unstoppable. He is a top 15 player of all time, and this is arguably his best season ever. I honestly think Wardell Stephen Curry has the most impact on the game than any other player. The Warriors score an average of 113.6 points a game. And that's pretty good. It puts them just above league average. But when you take Steph out of the equation, the Warriors score an average of 102.4 points per game. It's literally the worst in the league. The worst team in the league in points per game is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they still beat the Warriors by over a point. In the modern era of basketball, that just doesn't cut it. A lot of NBA players need the ball in their hands to be effective. If Kevin Durant isn't knocking down shots, he isn't that effective. If LeBron isn't scoring or creating for others, he isn't that effective. If Giannis isn't dominating in the paint, he isn't effective. Stephen Curry is by far the best off-ball player that history has ever seen. Taking into account how much gravity he has as a player and how that opens up shots for his teammates, he creates the most good looks for his teammates in the league. He may not rack up the most assists or be the best passer in the league, but he allows his team to get the best shots possible. Sure, there are better playmakers like Chris Paul, Nikola Jokic, and LeBron, but the effects Curry has on top of his already good playmaking ability makes him create the most good looks for his teammates in the entire league. Even when he has a bad shooting night, the defense can't give him any space at all, because they know they can't risk him getting into rhythm. Especially this year, opposing teams have been doubling and even tripling Curry as soon as he crosses half court. Teams do this because he is by far the best shooter of all time. The greatest shooters will have a few nights where they just dominate and make a ton of shots. So let's look at the games where players score 10 or more 3-pointers. There are great shooters like Kyrie, PG-13, Duncan Robinson, and Fred VanVleet that have had one of those games in their career. But then there are players that had this happen on multiple nights. Zach LaVine did this twice, J.R. Smith did this 3 times, and so has James Harden and Logo Lillard. Klay Thompson comes in second place, and he's done this 5 times in his career. But then there's Stephen Curry. He shot 10 or more 3-pointers on 22 separate occasions, 7 of which come from this season alone. In this shortened NBA season that hasn't even finished yet, Stephen Curry had more games when he shot 10 or more 3-pointers than anyone has in their entire career. And I'll tell you one thing about Steph. He's the only player that I have ever watched where I get disappointed when he misses a 3-pointer. With every other player, it's nice when it goes in, but it's gone to a point where I expect Curry to make that shot. Right now, the Golden State Warriors are sitting at the 8th seed in the West. They would be on pace to make the playoffs, but this year there's a play-in tournament, so there's even more of a risk. And a lot is on the line. Entering the season, Steph Curry was challenged to raise the floor for a team. Even though he was already doing this in 2013, people wanted to ignore that. And during the championship years, Curry had been blessed with good pieces surrounding him. And we knew how good of a ceiling raiser he was. But this year, the task was to carry a team. And for the first 5 games in the season, fans were going crazy. A bunch of people were already jumping to conclusions and saying that he couldn't carry a team, and all Steph has been doing this year is proving those people wrong. And that's why he needs to make the playoffs. If he doesn't, he will be seen as a player that couldn't even carry a team to the playoffs, and all they need to do is lose 2 games in the play-in tournament. And he's just knocked out like that. In the future, when fans look back at this year, and if the Warriors aren't in the playoffs, he's going to be degraded as a player and they aren't going to see all that he did this year. It will ruin his reputation. But I'm fairly confident that the Warriors will make the playoffs because they have experience and a superstar to lead them there. But any team can win a game. That's the scary part. And I'm so glad to witness his greatness. He is 33 years old and he isn't going to stay this good forever. His game is mainly based off of shooting, and that will age really well. I think his prime will be stretched longer than others because his game doesn't rely on athleticism and dunking. Shooters tend to have a longer career and longer primes. And I'm gonna be honest, the one thing I regret as an NBA fan is not seeing Kobe Bryant play live. I became a fan in 2017 right after Kobe retired, and the only thing I was able to watch was highlights and throwback games, which is still amazing, don't get me wrong. But watching an all-time great in real time is just something else. And I don't want to feel any sense of regret in not watching enough Steph and Curry. I already watched a ton of Warriors games and I love it. And same goes for LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, and that's just off of the top of my head. Enjoy players while they're still in their prime, because when they're gone, the only thing you will feel is regret. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I respond to every comment, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe for future basketball content, and thank you for watching.